It's my honor to swear in James Sasso, our class 1 and mayor's designee, Ross Cesarino, our class 3 board member, and Bill Morrison, our class 4 board member. The gentleman will stand and please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of planning board member according to the best of my ability, and that I will not use my office to grant preferential treatment nor to seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public. So help me God. Congratulations, welcome back, and welcome.
Ready? Mr. DeMarco is absent. Ms. Gardner? Yes, here. Ms. Geller? Present. Mr. Bryant?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mr. Sasso?
Here.
Mr. Simoff?
Here.
Mr. Baldwin?
Here.
And Mr. Zazarino?
Here.
We do have a forum. At this time, I would like to ask for nominations for chairperson. I'd like to nominate Donovan. I'll second. And And are there any other nominations? Going once? Twice, no other nominations for chairperson. Take a vote. Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Ms. Geller? Yes. Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sasso?
Hopefully I can vote.
The mayor appointed.
Oh, you can, you can vote, you cannot, the MLUL concludes the class 1, 2, and 3 members and alternate members from serving as an officer. But, all regular members can vote on the election of the ones. Yes.
Mr. Walden?
Yeah.
Mr. Zazarino?
Yes.
And Mr. Bryan?
Yeah.
Just give me.
Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry, I checked you off.
Yes. Yes.
My apologies. Thank you, sir. Sir, again.
Unanimous, congratulations.
Yeah. And I turn it over to you.
So we will be take nominations for vice chair. Vice chair serves in my place if I'm not here, and so is sometimes on some of the emails, sometimes as a backup, it's just to keep so much progress. Not a heavy lift compared to normal. For all.
I'd like to nominate.
Second.
And are there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, Ms. Gardner?
No.
Ms. Geller? Yes. Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sasso?
Yes.
Mr. Simoff?
Yes.
Mr. Walden?
Yeah.
And Mr. Zazarino?
Yes.
The motion carries. Mr. DeMarco will be our vice chair.
Did anyone check with him or?
I do.
Okay.
I thought it was.
And let there be no doubt, you can be elected chair or vice chair or any officer position in absentia. I think there's an old joke about if they don't show up for a meeting, they elect you chair or president. It doesn't make a difference.
It's a joke.
Okay, next section is appointment of professionals, administrative officer and newspapers. And there are 5 items here: attorney, Steve Warner, and his firm, and engineering expert, Bob Brightly in Boswell. Planning expert, John Zabo, in the middle. Davis Associates. The administrative officer provided by the Borough, Denise Florida, who's also serving on the Board of Adjustment. So, and Cal's other thing. And the newspapers, for publication of legal notices, the Bernardsville News and the Courier News. Both of which have taken additions.
So there is emergency legislation that was enacted to cover the impending demise of print editions of the Star Ledgers and any other papers, to ensure that our notices and those of applicants or public entities. If the newspaper wasn't print and it goes to online only, utilizing that same official newspaper is automatically acceptable for those purposes. And the online supplants the the print edition. We're moving that.
So any discussion?
We're moving.
Okay. Can we make a motion now?
Well, actually, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we actually have individual resolutions to cover every one of those coming up under sub H.
Okay, so.
So we can do them individually.
Okay,
Yeah, I guess after the calendar and the Bible.
so this is where we bless you, but the officer said, okay, fine. Then we have the approval of the meeting calendar and we listed some, refining this calendar. In general, we would have the default have 2 meetings and was historically the second and fourth Thursday of the month. And a couple of them there have been optimized. So take a look at the sheet. Put it up for you. In the deep summer months, July and August, there's just one meeting for one. And in the holiday months of November and December, there's one meeting in each of those as well, because the normal meeting would fall on actually, I'm not pretty close to on the holiday. Those two.
People, the Borough Council and the Board of Adjustment do the same in the months of July and August. They hold one meeting. People,
And then, of course, if there's no business to be held at one of these meetings, that, you know, and if the resources know that we should consider canceling it. Any comments, concerns?
Can I make one comment? It's not about the approval of this. Not when Denise sends out an email, and she asks if people are coming, not everyone responds. And we don't want to show up and not have a forum. So I'm just asking, I make everyone, that everyone let Denise know as soon as possible if you're not coming. If you know ahead of time, you have a conflict. She sends out an email, please respond, so then let them. So we're doing the purpose. You're welcome, that's helpful.
Good public service.
Denise, can you put the word forum and subject? When you're doing soliciting for me.
Well, one of the things I thought about doing, and I just thought of it when you said forum, I don't know, does everyone need to have themselves Outlook? Okay, because I was gonna say I could do an Outlook invitation, but that doesn't work. Would it be easier if I do a separate email that is a forum check separate from the agenda?
Yeah, I think if we're asking for special attention to be paid for, I guess if in the subject, you just put forum and block letters. And maybe, and then, you know, people in the. And don't reply on, you should probably, figure out how to do a blind copy or something, so that when people respond, they don't. You only tell you.
Okay. Good idea.
Okay, do we need a motion to it?
Yes, we can do it. It's not, we don't have a resolution for that one, Denise? But if we don't, then we can do it by, voice.
Please vote.
It is on here, resolution number 6.
For the schedule? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And the bylaws. This is all, yeah, it's all preview. If you.
Coming attractions, all right,
So do we need to go individually on each resolution or?
Yes, well, let's get there first. And then I'll. Because we have 25 bylaws. If everybody's comfortable, I think we're keeping, there's no MLUL changes that require a change. So if everybody's comfortable with how they were before, we can readopt.
so there were no changes made to the bylaws, is what you're saying, correct?
To prevent people from requesting changes, but none were mandated.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Can change, so. Okay, so then we now progress to the actual resolutions.
And Mr. Chairman, I will say that if we do it as if it were an agenda type situation, if nobody wants to pull any of the resolutions or has any particular issues or no votes, We do that work, or we can do it individually, whatever the board decides.
Well, I had one change to do in resolution 2, and like the, schedule, the fee schedule, I'd like to have the line item for the CAD technician removed. So, I think Bob indicated they don't charge for that, it's not a function that they charge for, but the rates. In any case, I think the easiest thing is to have it removed from the data. I think if they can just, if they need it for some reason, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever done any CAD drafting to plan board.
Which is great, I mean, and I think the easiest thing is just drop the line item, we don't need that service, remove it.
It's probably seven.
Does anyone else have any comment or concern? So do you wanna,
We could call for resolutions 1 through 7 with the one modification,
right,
in essence, a stipulated elimination. Right.
and then you will go, roll call.
And you can do them all at once. if
Do we need-
the
we
board's
need,
comfortable.
We need a,
And then we'll give roll call. for it.
right, so,
I'll move the resolution 1 through 7. With modification to the fee schedule to number 2.
Second.
on roll call,
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Ms. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Graham,
yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Sasso,
Yes.
Mr. Simoff,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah.
and Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
The motion carries. Very
Great. Thank you for your continued confidence and the ability privilege to continue to represent it.
We wouldn't want you to miss out on all the fun.
If you don't want. Hey.
I know, about a whole nother jug of midnight oil, right? So
It's-
all right,
With the lights for fun.
I think, Denise, you can make this, that statement in turn there.
Oh, this is the conclusion of the annual reorganization portion of the meeting, and we can now start the regular meeting.
Right, and then did you want to make any comment about the minutes?
Yes, the minutes will be forthcoming for the next meeting.
Okay. We had no communication, we do have approval for the bill. For those who are new, the bills are in 2 sections. There's a section that's operating expenses, which could go to the planning board. And then their application, their expenses associated with an application gets drawn into the experts for the application. So that's why I'm to seven. And it'll indicate on each one which application it's related to. Any if no comment, then we'll take a motion. To approve.
Second.
Okay, roll
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Ms. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Graham,
call. Yes,
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Sasso,
Yes.
Mr. Simoff,
Yes.
Mr. Walden,
Yeah.
and Mr. Zazarino. Motion.
okay, at this time, if there's anyone here that wants to talk to us about something that, but it's not related to what's on tonight's agenda, this is the first of 2 chances you have to come on down and make the statement or ask your questions. See none. So. Okay, so we are now to the main event of the meeting, which is our public hearings section. We are hearing one application tonight, continuation for syndication, 53 Northbound Road. block 175, lot 11, and this is the original town. This is the lot that previously had the starter center on it. And so this is a continuation of their application.
Chair, that's Simone. LLC on behalf of the applicant. Congratulations to the new appointments and congratulations to the reappointments. As you recall, or some of you recall, we were here back in October where we began our presentation on our proposed quick service restaurant. You heard from our project engineer, who took you through the site, you heard from our project architect, who discussed its design, and you heard operational testimony from the co-owner applicants. You also heard traffic testimony from our traffic professional. We had the benefit of many board suggestions and comments that night. We took those to heart. We went back, we grouped as a team, and we had several plan tweaks since we left them before you. We were able to eliminate 2 variances when we were here that evening. Those will be reflected, their elimination will be reflected on the plan. We removed the sidewalk width variance, and we were able to also eliminate the roof mounted sign variance. The applicant between then and now has also, has entered into an LOI with the neighboring property for use of parking. Those are, I think, the major update that I wanted to bring to your attention before we start. We are going to be recalling our project architect first, to go over his plan revisions. Then we'll call back our project engineer, go into his plan revisions. Our project engineers are two tasks tonight, we go through our planners, so we thought the testimony would flow better once we get into civil engineering. We'll go into his planning testimony. My only question before we call our witnesses, do they need to be re-sworn in?
No, or because we go by seating, not by calendar. So they remain under.
Are there any sheets, plan sheets?
Okay.
Or not?
Denise, Denise.
Not, I'm giving them out at the last meeting.
Those are the sheets.
That they have the last revision date, the section is the last revision date of, I believe it's 11/18.
Yeah.
Not the architectural, that one, I don't remember the date of the site plan.
Okay, these are then the new ones, okay. Got it. Next. Which was we forgot that the application was in October, so. All right. Can you put that easel right over there? I don't understand. Should you have the easel over there?
For the chair, I just know we need to pick them up on the speaker, right? I mean,
It's the question of the public. Just see. Normally we end up having it over there and these can send for the point. What's the sound?
gonna have to speak on it here. Denise, what do you think about what was open?
You would have to really speak up. You don't have a laptop to share screen.
I have my laptop.
He's ready, and we discussed it. Well, that would be helpful.
For definitely the people online.
Is there a security key? Do you have that?
Yeah.
Broke gas station, that says enter the network with security key.
Website.
It's open.
Yeah, you probably try to. You're available, now, okay. Oh, yeah, that maybe, that's just. Oh, Borough gas, right? Oh, Borough gas, okay. So. Right, that's the. Eugene. So.
Are you familiar with Zoom?
Yeah.
Once you get in.
Yeah, it's not all architect at Gmail. I just send them the link to ED. Does no internet open?
Don't you see it over?
Yes, here we go. Connect.
So my phone is picking on the line.
Yeah. I know. Oh, wait. All right, I think they're connected to the internet. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
It's just be a problem logging into the Borough gas Wi-Fi. We'll go multiple ways.
The wires, I mean, you can move this.
What if, is the.
To here.
Is here? Is here?
Nice.
Yeah, the board not gonna see it. Well, I put this down a little bit and I can't, if you could just try and project, yeah, please. That's about the best we can do. Just try and project.
Okay.
Oh. You remain on the road, and your name and address again, just for the record.
Douglas Oswald, ASRAL, 9 Whippany Road in Whippany.
And we continue to, your license remains standing?
Yes, sir.
Or continues to accept you as an expert field of architect, correct, Mr. Chairman? Please proceed.
Left off with some questions about the awning, and it's whether it's going to be a roof mounted sign. We brought the awning down to be just above the entrance. Do we need to indicate say two? Oh, and the store.
These are the architectural renderings that last advice date is that November 24th. Okay, we submitted within 10 days. Well, within 10 days for the season, they have to exchange to all rise for anything.
We only changed more than some architectural.
You know, I mean, the November plans themselves, what are those of them up to the board? You haven't done anything to change that, right? Since November,
Since November, no.
Okay. So you, Mark, that is an exhibit, please reference the sheet number when you're going sheet by sheet.
So,
Thank you.
so referring to sheet Z2, the elevations, the floor elevation. Address some of the issues from last meeting. Begin with the canopy, which is also the signage for last week. So its dimensions are 8'6" by 2 foot high. One of the concerns about it is that the canopies per the architectural standards that's in the guidelines requires that canopies be at least 9 feet above grade sidewalk and be 5 feet deep. This is not situated as a smaller canopy than what the minimum dimensions indicated in the guidelines. You know, we're seeking approval for this particular canopy. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Also the existing porch, this architecture, this building, this resembles a residential type of construction with a front porch. Commercial buildings with front porches per the guidelines have to have a 6-foot depth. This is an existing 3-foot depth, but these are the conditions of the existing building. With just bringing it to your attention that this commercial building has those characteristics.
Quick question, I just saw in the plans in the canopy that it's heated, did that add any size because of the heating device?
It's on the inside,
Okay.
yeah, to when you first enter the door, the entry door, that the curtain of hot air going down. Interior on the inside. This canopy is on the. And since the last meeting, only windows have been modified to reflect the kind of some of the current architectural gestures that are on the building with some art, some with arch type of windows and openings. We've added a few more, maybe windows a little bit larger. and to take into consideration the transparency requirements. The building as it is, has a, on this level, like the total, surface area of 960 square feet, with 175 square feet of glazing existing. We're proposing to have another, 30 square feet of glazing added, bringing it to 205 square feet. That takes us from 18.23% transparency, which is not conforming for the transparency requirement, to make it conform with 21.35%, 50% minimum is required. So as far as the transparency, there is a your best to abide by it. Otherwise, the other innovations are as previous, what you saw as the last year. More comments? And there's some comments about the coordination between the two, speaking to, about the D1, that's in 4 comments. The first of the two. D1, 4 comments, this will show the windows to be coincidental with the elevations. So I think that was every gentleman. But so that coordination is indicated here. And just to show seasonal seating in front, with the tables and chairs and actual lines. But it's the same plan as presented here.
So there were no revisions to this plan since
No, not the floor plan, no, the interior.
the July.
But the exterior, there were revisions with regard to windows and the style.
Okay.
And the placement of the canopy, taking it off the roof and bringing it down.
Just a suggestion architecturally to consider what wall treatment on the exterior you might want to consider next to the toilets. Take a look at that recommendation. It's kind of a steer there, just feeling like. Where's there or trellis or something where the toilet windows are. Not a requirement, just a suggestion.
Right, at the toilets, the windows are higher.
Yeah.
They're narrower and higher.
Yeah. It's easily inexpensive.
Aesthetic privacy.
Aesthetic.
Comparable.
All the kitchen and venting goes to the rear of the.
Yes, as indicated on sheet Z2, your elevation is 1 3, the hood vents are activated.
So they don't. They're not visible from the street.
They're not visible. If you look at the left elevation, you'll see the side profile. That's about the extent of it. And going on the floor, you see the side profile, and both can, going facing the rear direction.
The kitchen steps, if that's for voting, so is that where you, we know it's an exit, of course, but we'll say I anticipated that you would. Supplies into that one. Right. Where you load from the west and bring it all the way forward.
It depends, yeah, by the kitchen, it can be carried.
In other words, it can be ingress, but you're only expecting it to be a fully ingress there.
Oh, certainly, yes, it's not for any business, I mean, for customers.
Okay.
Can you just confirm, it looks like you reduced the seating number by 1, but you added a handicap?
Per the, wanted to indicate the accessibility of the handicap on wheelchair.
Right, but the total number of seats inside is reduced by one.
Yes, yeah, because we have to, well, the,
It's just the way that the configuration, I just wanted to make sure that it did go down. There was 2 seats on the right. Now there's 3 there's
so still there are the 4 outdoor seats running this,
oh, without, okay.
yeah, with the outdoor, yes. So, to maintain safety.
Right.
Oh.
Was it? That's,
Yeah.
any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions for this witness.
Go ahead. You got one?
I just have one question. You show the ramp, access to the ADA parking space. Is that going to be to have handrails? Do they need to be on both sides of the?
I'm going to defer to the engineer for the site work.
Is that going to be to have handrails?
We can take questions from the public. At this point, it's time of question only of this witness only. There'll be other candidates to question other witnesses, and there'll be a final candidate to make comments. In any case, at this point, if there's any from the public who wants to ask this witness a question, please come forward. No. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Current is going to be Mike Roth, civil engineer. Also providing plans as to building in the sworn.
I think there's someone who knows he was, and so you may not move, then licenses are both expertise or the field to the understand. Yes, sir. The bottom of them, cast the ball, it's going to be that's an expert on the chair commission turns back to your council.
Mike, once we've set up, we put the board real plan revisions.
Okay, so I'm going to be presenting sheet 3 of 8, and this is part of the package that was submitted to the board, but I will not mark it. It's dated February 26, 2024, revised through November 18, 2024. And just to note, there was a response letter that accompanied the resubmission that was dated November 19, 2024. And this response letter addressed the comments from the board planners, August 23rd review memorandum, the board engineers, August 28th, 2024 review letter. So I'm going to describe the site plan changes, and as discussed, the plans were revised to address the professionals' comments and also the board comments that took place at the October 24th, 2024 board meeting. Starting with the parking lot revisions, the handicap parking space was relocated. The eastern parking lot adjacent to the building, adjacent to the handicap space, is a ramp that will have handrails on both sides. To answer the question from Mr. Brightly, this space also serves as a backup area for trucks, and the train templates are provided in sheet 5. Therefore, trucks will not need to back up into the roadway, which is a concern from the board based on our last meeting. The parking lot proposes 13 spaces, including one handicap space. The 17 spaces are required, therefore variance is being requested. The parking lot does, however, accommodate for the 39-seat restaurant, which requires 13 spaces as the staff parking will take place off-site. Next, the sidewalk along Morristown Road is revised to be 8 feet wide, which complies with the width standard. A variance is no longer requested. The site lighting is revised as the type of fixtures and locations were modified to comply with the maximum light rating of 0.5 candle, 0.5 foot candles on the side of their property lines. Therefore, we're no longer doing variance. The previously proposed roof mounted sign that required a variance is redesigned to be a canopy sign as described by the architect, which complies with the ordinance requirements. Additional landscaping is proposed for the eastern parking lot, and the variance is no longer for screening of parking. The dumpster.
Sheet 6.
Correct.
We started with 3, but we pretty much went down the punch list and that was the references to the sheet.
Correct. The lighting provisions are shown on sheet 6. The dumpster enclosure is revised to include a roof to comply with the board engineer's comment. We also added a bicycle parking area, which is located to the southwest of the building. That was to comply with the comments from the board. Next, the drainage design was revised to address the board engineer's comments. Describe that the curbing is proposed along the parking lot, and inlets are added to collect the parking lot runoff, which is piped to the proposed stormwater draw-off system. The architect had mentioned the review of the downtown district standards, which was brought up at the last meeting to show how the building complies or doesn't comply with those standards. And based on the review from the architect, the building complies with all the standards except for 2 sections, as mentioned by the architect, which was the attachment standards for canopies, and also the standard for porches. And the architect noted that the project does comply with the building transparency requirement, which is a improvement from the current building, existing condition. So in summary, the project is requesting C variances. We have reduced the number of variances greatly from our first submission, based on comments from the board. So we thank you for that. The variances include the rear yard setback based on the expansion to the dormer, number of parking spaces, location of parking setback to the property line for the side and rear, number of driveways, AC unit and generator setback, trash enclosure setback, and the permitted building attachment standards for canopies and porches. Exception to the design standards is also requested for not providing a formal loading space. So that the C1 and C2 criteria can be applied to our ask for variance relief. Hardship component to the project is satisfied the C1 positive criteria is the location of the current building and its proximity to the property lines, which creates 2 usable areas that are only on the sides of the building, which is a special feature that impacts this property. In view of the development proposal on the whole, it encourages many of the purposes of the MLUL to satisfy the C2 positive criteria. We have purpose A to encourage and guide the appropriate use of land in the project is a use that's permitted in this zone, and we're proposing improvements for public safety. We also have purpose C to provide adequate open space based on reducing the impervious coverage and proposing new landscaping for the project. And also purpose I to promote a desirable visual environment through techniques and good civic design by the improvements to the building and site design. Next, for the negative criteria, the requested variances result in no detriment to the public good. There are no rear yard impacts as the adjacent lot to the south is the railway property. The west property line is directly adjacent to the parking lot that serves a commercial use. The east property is adjacent to a building, commercial building. The variance for the rear yard building setback and variance is related to parking, loading, setback of the AC unit and generator and trash enclosure are a result of the site's hardship and have no impact to the adjacent properties. The variance of building attachment standards are tied to the current condition of the building. The building is being upgraded in terms of now complying with the transparency requirement, which was discussed at the last meeting. The variance for the number of driveways is also a result of the site's hardship and reduces the non-conforming condition. That's currently there's 3 driveways and we're reducing it to 2. Testimony by the traffic engineer at the last meeting and applicant to support the variance for the number of parking spaces based on the type of food service, which is a quick turnover service that has staggered peak time and offers pickup and drop and go items. Therefore, the parking provided fits this use and is supplemented by the employee parking, which takes place on site. The project promotes many of the goals of the borough's master plan. The proposed use in the DC zone, which promotes the borough's downtown, and also by proposing a new sidewalk and outdoor eating areas. Based on these reasons, we feel the negative criteria is satisfied, and it's my opinion that the variances can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, and that it will not substantially impact the intent and purpose of the master plan and zoning ordinance. That concludes my testimony.
First question is curious, septic. You can see there's markings, this is some kind of a septic capability, or do you have something to the city sewer system?
Correct, we're gonna have to propose a new connection to public sewer.
Is it directly going across the street, or are you, like, are they going up or down? To all the properties?
So that design is shown on sheet 4 of 8, where we're coming, the sewer lateral will run towards the west, based upon the elevation of the existing sewer line in Morristown Road. We're gonna need to pump the sewer via force main and connect to a new manhole in Morristown Road. And that will involve.
And you're pumping it to the west, is that what you're saying?
It's gonna go gravity on our property to the west to a pump tank, via force main to the north, under Morristown Road.
So this is like a multi-property deal, town worked out, or plan for sewer? Because it's not there now, right? So,
Yeah, it's just a force main, my understanding, it's just a force main to the regular plan. Let me connect you to the force main.
Well, the section we're tying into is the gravity section. And we had discussions with the sewer department, and we started those talks, and ultimately we get through this meeting, we'll provide a detailed design for that. I think that's the problem. You can go.
and the pump, how is it being powered? Going to be powered by your generator, or is it the pump on someone else's?
It'll be by the separate property.
Approximately their property is gonna make sure it's energized.
Correct. Yeah, the separate property.
No idea. Your gravity. Okay, so you're decommissioning whatever it is they had at the back.
Correct.
And Bob Wright made fencing this property, between this property and the train, there's a transit, I can see it's 5 feet, is that? Where it is?
Sorry, that.
The fence at the back of the property. That's preventing you from falling onto the train track. It's 5 feet, is that a prudent height?
5 feet high. It's okay for that purpose. Yeah.
That's what I'm at.
Not screening anything.
I don't care about, I care about safety. 5 feet high, is safety. Checking. And you've had discussions with New Jersey Transit about removing all of the encroachments that are at the back of the property. The back, you know, that you're. Would have to rip all that out, right?
Correct, yeah, there's hardscape miscellaneous features that are gonna turn into a lawn essentially. The applicant has mentioned that after we get through our meeting, we'll have further talks with them and discussions.
Yeah, I can see what you're planning to do, I just want to know anything, you know, to tell me your thing for you.
Where they were noticed as part of the project.
That's different than as you talk with anybody, not notice.
Okay.
Have you had discussions with New Jersey Transit on your gracious intent to remove the encroachment that the prior owners?
The applicant has indicated that they haven't done that yet, but they will after approval.
The work will be a condition.
Yeah, it's easier to do it before they've got the fences up and easier to just now. I don't know what the New Transit will request in terms of any.
They might require a flatter on site when they do that work.
Or below the track, because stuff could fall, right?
Yeah, that. It's the only work that couldn't be trained, they need approval.
And at your point, Steve, I don't know what we would want to put in as a stipulation or anything.
So if we need to, if the board, if the board is requesting and they're stipulating to cleaning up that area, subject to the review and approval, who do we give it to? But they first have to ask, they have to get records of the commission to be able to.
But again, if they're.
Like you said, you say,
Yeah.
They will stop that. They. Go by the train, see.
Is there any grading proposed on the transit company?
Very minor. They have their encroachment included almost a site wall that in proposed conditions really has no purpose. And it was an encroachment from the prior property owner where they were, I guess, storing different types of things. As you can see on the upper view on sheet 2 off the property. So we're gonna restore the grades. And
It looks pretty level. No, they leverage the level land, lay down the tables, basically, and you store stuff there.
right,
Because right beyond that area, it's split.
right.
So.
There will be disturbance on it.
Right. On New Jersey Transit property, you know.
So I think you need a positive response from New Jersey Transit instead of no response.
New Jersey Transit is listed in the owner's list here.
Yeah, that's what everybody first, no, don't make a number. Okay, yeah.
Right. But nevertheless, we're anticipating that it's a condition subsequent.
You know, they could abandon it. I mean, technically, it's New Jersey Transit. That section and improvements and I guess they're gonna they would need to disturb that property line to put the fence in, you know, it's like, oh, I'll lift up a row of pavers and put the posts in for the fence, but.
I'm suggesting that positive response. Is it right? Like no response.
Right, that's a condition. Yeah, I'm just looking at time. I think they were looking for confirmation that we're talking about conditions subsequent, right? Not something to be resolved prior to the decision. Yeah, so we're sitting at the year.
I just wanted that to be covered, that's all.
Yep.
You're proposing to as one would think, everything to the east of the, current dwelling, you're proposing to, all those spaces, you're proposing to, or whatever it is, to take up, and replace. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but you. For all drawing, we're gonna have to move your own stuff too, so around.
That's correct.
And we have one question on sheet. Can you figure this out? On sheet 3,
Sanitary.
to the east of the building, is the square, is that, what is that little rectangle that's?
To the east of the 4 parking spaces, the rectangle.
Sorry, yes.
Sanitary. Sewer.
So just so everyone, just so we're on the same page in plan view, north is at the bottom, east is on the left.
Yeah, the west is on the right, and if you look at the, if you look at the west property line. You see there's a rectangle,
Okay. Yeah, that's the, that would be the proposed pump tank.
pump tank,
Right.
field gravity feed to your pump tank. And then you're. So exiting the pump tank, so you're gonna pressure,
Correct.
we're gonna apply pressure to get it out of your pump.
Right.
And your pump will run off, will be supplemented by your generator
At the back.
as a backup.
Is that subject to using DEP approval? The outcomes. DEP.
Well, not in this case.
Well, a pump station is required. Even though it doesn't meet the 80,000 gallons a day.
It's just yours, right?
Correct.
You can look into that, make it as a. I don't believe so, unless you have.
Yeah, I don't believe so either.
Individual. There's a, you could. Go and grab it. From the tank to your your tank.
Oh, so you're saying it's gravity from the tank to the sewer. But that might mean you'd have to pump to your tank.
Yeah.
That's what you're suggesting.
Then you have to put in there, for a way and check that section of the pipe, make sure there's no problems. Not sure how.
So it's gravity that's just simpler than
It looks like the grades are about the same. I think here's 423 and now about 423. Hard to read that.
Yeah, and I talked to the sewer department about this. That was what we wanted to do, is go gravity to the existing, but based upon the invert elevations and the crossings in the roadway. We went gravity, we would have conflicts with the other pipes within the road. So the suggestion was to go via force main to get.
He, as you covered it, you discussed it with the sewer. Collected in this.
I'm not, it's a shallow one.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
We did open all the public. They only made it, so I thought. Shoes that just had one tongue, they were right to get to Chinese silver brass. I'm saying they assess the increase in.
Sure, absolutely.
That's why I didn't go to Chinese. Or something.
And then, you speak,
Just, one question, is there a sidewalk on the sidewalk along North Town Road to your patio area? There's a sidewalk.
No, it's not proposed, but it's a good, would be a bit, yeah.
So sidewalk along the driveway,
They have to walk through the driveway,
on the driveway surface itself, you know, not on the
or front walk.
along the driveway.
Walk through the driveway.
That saves.
We first do this specific area location for every.
Location is not really simple, but that. The connection between the patio. The cement along.
Your preference on the side?
Sure, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break or just in light of the fact that the board members. Taking a break and we want to make sure all our board members can vote.
Sure. Take ratings straight. So. We can take one a quarter.
Not that's the law.
Yeah, but every year.
I rescind.
We
Withdraw my request.
It's like one of those comedy shows where it says, hey.
Okay. We can continue.
So. You would just look at whether you should have the sidewalk in both entrances. It's like. Not a lot of that, added cost.
Size of the plan.
Yeah, the key is to be able, how do you reach? Yeah, foot traffic, how do you leave the current sidewalk and get into the facility? You know, what do you do? And as a default, it's like, oh, just walk in the driveway, you know, that's okay. Well, okay, it should be pedestrian traffic, that's the punctuation.
Before two planner.
Yeah. He doesn't mind if I walk up.
I think the objective is we need that pedestrian traffic access from the sidewalk without going on the driveway surface.
Sure. We agree.
And then that's kind of up to you.
Understood.
Can you mention, there was one thing, and you did mention it quickly, that you had arranged for a parking, arrangement for, I think, the employees, but.
An LOI with a neighbor, 37 Morristown Road, the parking. It is just an LOI, but they've been diligent in their efforts to secure the mall site.
What city is that? What's on now? I'm sorry, 37.
37. Yes.
No, maybe.
It's a vacant lot.
I think it's on May ninth on her.
It's in block.
No.
Go shoot.
Do we have any, I know it's an LOI, do we have, if I may, Mr. Chairman, do we have any idea of the number of spaces being sought?
Yes, parking lot.
He was sworn the owner, 53 Marston Road, so, what might need you on something, you can only put 4 spots in. how the curve is, they'll score lots.
It's the Mavis parking lot.
No, it's further down, it's right across from the bank. So they used to do the deposits underneath.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
that's good. So,
What?
right, control parking, it's like the public's needing to navigate that turn in, so basically you're using that small. LOI to use that small lot for your flight park. Yeah, it couldn't be custom.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, we had a stip, I think that the employees were gonna park offsite anyway, so that's
It.
related it to.
It couldn't be. All right, it's fun to sure you cover it all.
Right now, I think there are barriers in the road to keep people from going around that little turnaround. It's open to your employees. I mean, how can you make sure that your employees using that and not just members, anybody wanting to park in that?
Sides of the road.
Or
How do you prevent it? It's gotta have to be signed. It says for employee. That's all that can fit in, right? I think that's what you said. So you're gonna need signage there that says for the employees of, reserve parking for your employees. So this may include that.
This is a signage possible on that lot because they're not our lot. Employee only parking signage that you just.
You need employee only parking on signage on lot 37.
Not necessarily be able to do that.
Yes, you can. As part of your LOI, you'll be able to do.
Understood.
With the stipulation. And then I guess as backup, if that ultimately the LOI falls through, it's a term, it's a lead, it's a duration, and at some point if they say, then they're back up. It goes somewhere. That would be the-
Stipulate about the law. Is that something you're looking for, or is that what I mean?
The signage has to be there so that people will not just park.
I don't know.
I really think anybody would want the half circle. I'd like to think it's somewhat, so. Obviously, it's just, if you pull up to work and, you want something to make fun, if like having somebody parking in driveway. Yeah.
What do you do? No, right now there's barriers there. No one's gonna park there. Now barriers are gone. Anyone can turn into that and park. You just have done something. Otherwise, there's no default. What do you mean? So what's
If I may, there is the understanding of the LOI, the comes to the conclusion, I don't agree with. That does it provide for beyond, you can have a four employees park here if they could. What else is common? Presumably no signage, but what else, if anything's common here? Does it have to be LOI?
Yeah.
It's gonna have to say something. It could say private parking. It's gotta say something. It's designated that little circle that the barriers are going on. It's now available. There just has to be something there that says, I told you can't park there. Otherwise, it's fair game. Anyone can park them. Take their chances.
Okay, we'll have to figure that out, and that's only one option right now.
Okay.
This parking agreement would be one option, they're still looking into other options. But Mr. Chairman, with the understanding, for. You would like our 4 spots, identified somehow, it doesn't have to be parking for this exact, private,
They need to, 37 is.
37
The
needs-
owner of 37
Yes.
needs to put a sign in there that says it's private
These-
parking.
spots are.
That's because they're gonna, people are gonna.
Whatever compensation we getting.
But we don't have to say,
For you,
for this business.
this has to be, the public has to know somehow that they're not allowed to.
Got it.
And you get this other depot.
Right, right. It's something that I understand. Well,
Yeah, somebody to expense, this needs to be something.
Anything else from the board?
He provided both, engineering and planning, right? I mean, he-
Oh, yeah, C1, C2,
He dueled it, okay. He got him,
positives, negatives.
all right, anything
There's no detriment, but the standard is no substantial detriment. That's all he had to say.
any from the council, any, it's parks, right? So that's a big question about any concerns about.
At this time,
That space.
at this time, no, there's nothing specific there.
I have a question. There are two proposed driveways. Based on DOT regulations, you don't have them.
Yeah, they have a deviation from the variance.
No, but it's the DOT.
It's, well, that they're gonna have to. An outside agency rule.
Have you had any feedback from the DOT?
Well, can I report again for the record? License.
Traffic engineer.
Because I'd like.
Perfect. With respect to DOT, correct that by their regulation, only one drive will be permitted. They have commented on that. Or they have told us essentially that we need to provide them a written waiver request to why two driveways in there, so subsequent submission. It's a major access issue, so it's not limited to the one like since would be necessarily. So we'll be going forward with that. With a waiver request.
Current conditions, there, is it one big driveway?
It's the curb, I mean, the curb, it does come up, steps up a little bit.
It's mountable,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
anyone can just pull in anywhere, so I just thought you would say, well, we're making it better. Well, right now, it's like,
That doesn't need to be very.
Yeah, no, we tried that with DOT, it rarely worked.
You need a waiver or variance.
We'll be ready. We'll be requesting that and the companies are actually specifically excited. Of course, you send in a big request.
Okay.
We'll be
Wondering if you had an alternate plan if they started.
and I'll get, well. But that's a pretty substantial change in everything that's going to site.
You can ride by and see trucks loaded already from the building.
I think that's it.
That's it.
There's a stipulation to the time of the day that deliveries will be made.
Well, yeah, I had, last time I had, deliveries. Deliveries only during non-operational hours and only by box. The operation was where. I have to go back to. Yeah. 8 AM to 9 PM Monday to Sunday.
8 AM to 9 PM Monday and Sunday, yes.
So are you gonna be turning me real late or real early, for delivery? So, real late because I go to bed at 9 o'clock. Weekends, not on Monday through Thursday.
Does that also, include the trash pickup? Because
Trash pickup, we have it stiff as, daily, well, all operational, well, Monday through Sundays every day. Daily private trash pickup. We didn't have specifics as to the hours of trash.
the reason I ask is because it looks like the handicapped area. And they a turn in there for your.
Which is open. Handicap.
Before hours. Before opening.
Oh, it's full.
We're open.
Before
So the trash pickup over there.
Okay,
Okay.
so also non-operational, but not late at night, like 9 o'clock when you sleep, it's on Saturday, but before the, if there's. You can get along with this past year. No, no.
Okay, Steve, so you wanna, recount your.
Oh, like, the record of like no public for questioning and let the record, well,
No, you're absolutely correct. So now, anyone from the public who would like to ask a question or make any comments about this application is welcome to come on down and explore. None? Now you can summarize.
It's only gonna take about 30 minutes, and we can take you guys to
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Don't forget 9 o'clock, everyone.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Chairman and members of the board and board professional. This has been we think a beautiful adapted reuse of this property. We had a great project to start. The applicant owners are really excited with the passion for food to bring to the community. And truly thank you for all of the suggestions at the October meeting. I think we now have a truly rounded, well-conceived project, both in design and programming. And with that, we hope that you act favorably on our application this evening, and thank you very much.
Chairman, with your permission, no.
Can we certify that the new.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't, Denise told me that, I forget to put it on the record, but Denise, so all our board members this evening are qualified to go, even though we're not here at the prior hearing, correct? And they've either signed the certification or they will. So, they won't represent on the record that they're meeting. I have representation here too. But the law does not require that to be signed before you. No.
So we just need to get it done.
Yeah.
Now you.
Yeah. On the record, you have 2, 4, 6, 8 board members to vote this evening. I have it as a preliminary final major site plan approval with bulk variance relief as follows: on-site number of parking spaces. It's changed from 12 versus 19 to 13 versus 17. Meaning 13, proposed 17 minimum. That's parking deficiency. Minimum building setback. The dormers are vertical extension of 1.3 feet in the rear yard setback versus 5 feet minimum. Rear parking, please correct me if I'm wrong. That's anything or everything. Rear parking required, parking on both side yard versus rear yard parking only. Side yard parking setback 2.6 feet to the easterly line versus 5 foot minimum side yard setback. And rear yard parking setback 8.6 feet to the rear yard line versus 5 feet minimum rear yard setback. Parking, some deficient setbacks, a maximum number of driveways, 2 proposed, 1 maximum permitted. Eliminating the sidewalk, WID, each abbreviation, parking area screening, landscaping screening, parking required, whereas not a proposal, although maybe we're beyond none that, but in any event, there's probably a variance relief to be granted there. Now, they eliminated the roof mounted sign because it's now a county sign, all correctly. We have accessory setback variances for the exterior AC units, the generator, and the trash enclosure. And each one of those is a separate and independent accessory setback variance. And I have design waiver that has no loading space, no formal loading space versus one loading space required. And we can just add.
There were the two building related, standards.
Yeah, that's it.
We're looking at these porches. Is a section of the ordinances, LB. That 12.16. B1.
The, for commercial with the front door, we didn't have the 6 foot depth, was it? It's too far. And what was the second one? My apologies. I wrote it down, but I didn't write it down.
The canopy clearance and 9 foot minimum required.
Those two additional design waivers. All that relief is being sought. I don't think there's anything else being sought. And 5 out of 8 for passage. 5 affirmative votes out of 8. And she. I don't know.
Motion to approve the application, preliminary final site plan and the variances for 166 to 9 Brook Road in Bernardsville. No, I'm sorry. 53 Morristown Road, block 5.
And also that report, taking the big conditions. Which I didn't go through, the planner's memo, I stopped at the release, planner's memo, engineer's memo, daily private trash pickup for operating hours, clean up the area near New Jersey Transit with affirmative permission of DOT. Limited seating to 39 seats, maximum permitted is right now, right? The deliveries off. We run non-operational hours and only like nothing larger than box trucks. Well, you've increased the sidewalk width to 8 feet, so there's no deviation there.
I thought they were proposing 30 seats now, but I could have read it wrong.
They had
Tours and everywhere. Thanks.
and satisfying the transparency requirements of the design standards, which we testified to they do. There was a revision to the windows, which perhaps were satisfied. Off-site parking, lot permits for all employees. The 4 spaces and requisite signage and 37 Town Road over the alternative pursuit of the alternative spaces, including but not limited to the train station. For those 4 spaces for employees only. Installation of bike rack, which is already provided near the ADA space, which is already provided from the plans. Pump station, DEP approval required. Or if I'm sorry, DEP approval if required, right, to be obtained. Chinese silver, silver grass. The exchange for native species. Pedestrian connection between the patio and the sidewalk along Marktown Road. DOT waiver for the 2 driveways, as well as, of course, as always, all outstanding, all agency approval outside. Did I leave anything out?
Is there a question about whether there's a rail or rail necessary?
They said they put 2 guardrails on the ADA spaces as part of the testimony, so we can make that a condition and so it's already been satisfied. Yes. I think the engineer / planner, I'm sorry, the engineer.
We got promoted.
There you go. Oftentimes it's a traffic engineer is also the planner, but sometimes it's civil engineer. So never the word. So that's our relief, that's all the stipulated two conditions, so I'm gonna assume the motion to approve is for all of that relief with all those stipulated two conditions. Probably correct, thank you.
I'll second.
We have a second. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Ms. Gardner?
I'm measuring Mr. Chair, my apologies.
Ms. Geller? Yes. Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sasso?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Mr. Walden?
Yeah.
And Mr. Zazarino?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
It's not. All the meetings here. Second. Okay. Yeah. Changes these two applications.
Oh, yes, they're all.
Any changes to wanted to discuss the format of the meeting is whether we should consider adjusting it in any way in terms of some participation, Skype. And so we have the one we've been using last year, that's our default position going in. Are there any, if you present any discussion?
So the meetings are broadcast over Zoom and the public can comment via Zoom. And that means that everyone doesn't have to necessarily be here or be there with issues, and that's why the thing doesn't have public Zoom. That was very helpful to me. I was under the weather and I was able to comment on the parking study. I'm not specifically be there. And I just think it opens up opportunity for more people to participate. I think that has become less powerful, so this would be because they early on, it was very vulnerable. But it might be something that we can consider, and also periodically as board members. You do a good job of being here this way, but I just think the flexibility is something to consider. I'm not sure what the Board of Adjustment is doing. That came up in
It's totally, it's like, that's it.
Well, let me give you the other side of the coin. People that offer comment by Zoom, they can't be, then they're subject to cross-examination. If say somebody gets up and objects, then they're subject to cross-examination, which is difficult when they
public comment.
Yeah, you're sworn.
Public comments testimony, same thing. If I may, Mr. Chairman, it's a policy decision that for the board and to the extent necessary, the governing body to provide resources and maybe some input from the governing body and administration, but because as we know, during COVID, we all got better at Zooming. Both got better at Zooming. And some of them already Zoom from Telecom. And couple of things. Number one, even the COVID emergency procedures made a distinction between governing body and meetings and other types of deliberative meetings versus land use board, planning board and zoning board, hearings on applications for development. Because those hearings are quasi judicial proceedings, and there are certain constitutional principles that have to be abided by. And there were some difficulties, for example, to this day, we don't have, technically, you can't properly swear someone in remotely. If they don't have, I take that back, if they don't have the screen, because you technically can't see them raise their right hand. And what do? I mean, I've had people say, well, just have them swear that their right hand is raised. Well, okay, but let me see them raise their right hand to swear that they are, to give you an example. So it's not the same, is my only point. It was a whole set of procedures, even for the emergency protocols for handling all public body meetings, but then separate for applications for development hearings for planning and zoning boards. It has an enhanced standard of approval and standard for reason, for procedures. So you have to be able to fully see and hear everybody. And basically, when you're dealing with a hybrid, which we would become, and it's not my decision, but the people who are remote have to be able to see everything and everybody and hear everybody in person, and the people in person have to see and hear everybody remote. We should be able to properly swear everybody in. And there's even credibility determinations that the board makes of witnesses. That, for example, if someone were remote, but they didn't have their video on,
Camera card.
you can, not everybody is capable, even today. I don't mean today, literally, but I mean, not everybody's able to do it. So it adds dimensions or levels of difficulty. And then I'm not even mentioning we had a significant problem a couple of years ago, as I recall, that with a, not hijacking, hacking, which I guess is short for hijacking. Think about it. But and it was very significant, and it was very disturbing and detrimental for those involved, watching and listening. So, and I think shortly thereafter, determinations were made that maybe we need to do things in person, at least for the time being. I say all that just by way of sort of history and flavor and context, not for me to decide if the governing body and the board wish to do all remote, to do hybrid. In my opinion, in person is the quote unquote safest. Attorneys love safe. The next would be remote, and hybrid is the most difficult because of all the interreactions and interrelationship and problems I think.
It's a blend, like, so the different configurations. So we know what we're doing today, right? You're present and you participate, or you're remotely watching.
Right.
Which in theory, there's a mode with the same facilities where sure it could be remote watching. And we could enable her to speak. But not anyone else. There's no public.
That's Zoom webinar, right? They go to panel or not, we do that a lot. I have stay remote. All of them, and they do.
I'm just saying, we have potentially a choice of saying it's listen only if you're in the public. But with the same, I believe in the same technology and watching, we have the ability to allow our board member to speak on the same session. Selected.
You could,
We can say, most of period of time.
If you. I mean, I haven't really, I think I missed one meeting.
No, I'm just trying to turn it.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah, we would do that. That's equitable. Yeah, that's just, we're just using technology as if, we had issues with forum, getting people to participate. One in the technology.
This is a visitors that you call twice a meeting, you know, back to the public.
That's not that's the portion of the meeting that's not a hearing on an application.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So yes, you have more leeway, you're less vulnerable to those portions of the meeting, absolutely.
Is correct. So yes, there's a section there where you could say, okay, we would let the public speak, raise their hand and we unmute them.
It's the technology is there, we've all seen that it's not infallible, and nor humans who try to work it.
Well, but then that relates back to the comment that you made, which is there's a caveat that says if anything at all happens to the technology, too bad, it's just not available, sorry, can't participate. We're not. They have no remote access. No, where did you all say, look, you jeopardize an application because the owl dies? Said, so, no, sorry, no.
Well, like tonight, the architect couldn't get the plan on the screen.
Anything,
It's a happy question. We have to see.
Boxes.
Yeah, well, and another, if we were gonna do an entire application, another thing is our technology here is not very sophisticated. So one of the things that Steve mentioned about if we were to try and do it for the whole public, for a public hearing portion, the people that are remote need to see everything in the room, and everybody in the room needs to see everyone here. Well, we don't have technology to do that. Like, we would need big screens throughout the room so that or in a couple of places in the room, so the public could see everything there. And then we would need cameras so that the people that are on Zoom, per se, could see everything in the room.
but I think there are two different things here. I would say your comment is accurate for the aspect of an application.
Yeah.
Right.
That has a public component.
Correct.
I think what Steve is saying, or someone's saying is business of visitors. I said, not an app, you said, an application of business of visitors, so I'm not so sure if business of visitors has to be available for everybody to see it.
I think that would confuse not understanding why they could only participate at a certain time. I don't know.
You gotta get the like 3 or 4 different scenarios for every, meeting. So you're right, every meeting is gonna be a different scenario. When do you make that justification, or when do you announce who can do what, when,
How do
and
you
where?
explain it up front?
And then when you have somebody that wants to comment, how do you tell them they can't because of which scenario we're in at that point? It just gets very convoluted and you're running into all these different.
So you want to like, what we have now is kind of the default?
Oh, yeah, I would say,
So I'm thinking, what if, if a meeting came up, like we had, another huge meeting where we thought that this place was gonna be overflowing, we could potentially ahead of time sit down and say, hey, should we or should we not potentially alter some rules for this, for a specific upcoming meeting or something?
well, no, at a big meeting, we just have to get a different spot. We have to get a different location. That's not something that you want to throw in or something like that. I would say that's something we go for a bigger location, library, cafeteria.
We went on entirely remote. Got, the Zoom webinar, got everybody used to doing it right. And as I said before, I think the safest is in person. The second is completely remote. In my experience, you run into more problems trying to do the hybrid, but again, there's plus pennies to everything in life, so plus pennies. But so
How hard is it technically though, to have the variant that just says it's just like it is today, except if one of us is participating, a board member.
board members are in a different stage. Because even before COVID, before all these, the rules came out a few years ago. There has been, for a long time in the MLUL, a provision allowing board members to participate through, I think the term is electronic equipment. That's how old the provision. And again, though, if you're gonna participate as a board member in an application, a hearing on a development application, I wouldn't want you just on the phone saying, yeah, I can't see anything, but, I get it. But, you gotta, certainly would want you to be able to see and hear everything. Ideally, they can see and hear you, but respectfully, it's more important that you see and hear that.
I'm just thinking that variant, it's perfect, but incrementally it provides convenience to the board.
Yeah, and I would,
They would have the option, and we might have had Chad here a couple of meetings last year instead of none.
I would also say my experience with that, not perhaps not surprisingly, it should be the exception, not the rule, because people shouldn't just assume, oh, well, I can come in remote all the time. We never have anybody here.
For 6 months.
Yeah, the intent was to help ensure quorum,
Yeah.
when
Well, not
when
every
it's necessary.
They could watch it passively anyway, as a board member.
Certainly can.
Not like that's far away.
Having to read it, having to look at the transcript, they said, well, I heard of it, so.
Yeah, right.
It's already available.
Correct. Well, I'll tell you an anecdote. I was at a hearing in Fairfield, years ago, they used to televise the hearing. Everybody suddenly got from the running in free. Sure. He was lying on the couch watching the show. And he had questions. He came in to ask questions. He physically did? Yeah, he came running into the room, raised his hand and said, I have a question. What, he was lying on the couch. He said, yeah.
So, in that scenario, can a board member, if they're attending remotely, listening and unmuted, can they vote?
If they can hear and see everything, yes, they can, I believe they can, I know they can participate in everything else. In the business, but I believe they can also.
They can
vote, it's part of the farm. Again, though. Yeah, well, everybody was, we got everything. Yeah, we had it, everything was just pure remote. Until a certain evening. Things changed a bit after that evening.
This would be potentially an applicant with unfavorable vote complaining that someone's accessing it remotely.
Yeah, but no, it's still provided for in the MLUL, and I'll.
No.
I mean, people could argue anything, and they often do, but that doesn't make it a violent argument, or even not a frivolous argument.
I think it's safe to assume we all believe that in person is best.
Participation. In the case now that's participation. This could have been 8 inches of stops,
Might still be.
Yeah.
But it was.
Leaning towards letting, it's helpful that half of the summer meetings are longer. But kind of leaning towards allowing board members to participate.
Prospectively, if you do allow that, you get more people that are willing to participate and serve on the board. And myself, I travel a good amount, and it's gonna be very difficult to get flight schedules going that to make. I'd rather stay in a hotel an extra night, do new instead of missing it.
And it's gonna be the situation of one night and
Marching.
Yes, she was like 2 days ago, so sat in on the meeting and listened.
Yeah.
But, I do believe it's best for us to be in person. But, God forbid, radio like, we can't be here. Better.
For a board member to participate, what technology do we need to add to be able to do that? Because if if someone's using the computer and they're showing something in here, this is where we see everything from Zoom.
So you
How
can
does-
see that, but for example, if they just have board,
Right,
you don't have a camera to show you that board, if it's an.
but does anybody else need to see that member? If the board members were participating remotely, do they need to be seen?
They don't need to be seen. See it not heard, but.
camera, you can
But, yeah, I mean, you've probably seen anything, but you, again, as I said before, it's more that you see and hear everything as opposed to you be seeing.
And if they're showing something on the board, regularly, it's somebody gonna be in box or a box,
If somebody's showing it from their computer.
But everything tonight, we have, you would have had everything tonight in front of you on the couch, looking at it. If someone takes one of these and says, oh, I polarized it and here it is. Okay, you're not gonna necessarily have the benefit of it.
Got it. It's not that, yeah, it's certainly conceivable. I can't speak to the technology. They sent it to school for a reason, because they don't want to touch anything, break it. I'll leave that to the IT professional and all.
The other good thing about just making it available to the board is that I don't think we have to announce anything. We don't have to change our statements, our policy for the public. It's really amongst us that, we're making this capability available again. So it's good in that sense. Whereas if it's like, oh, well, never, everybody in the public can speak, and so that's gonna change some of our official documentation.
Denise, if I mentioned, does it make sense to talk to or the administrator and see what options might be available to the extent necessary to enhance our, if we need to enhance our technology for purposes of at least the board members right here.
It works now.
Are we good now?
I think we're good now. I think,
I mean,
to your point, I think the council, I mean, she asked for open public comment. It's a different, but the issue legally is that this is quasi judicial. That speaks to the issue that he had. More hybrid thing, but when it comes to members, I think it's a little bit. It's certainly possible. I just know some of the issues they highlighted, is the whereabouts people in here, for example. Or the picture on there, the house.
well, is it a different technology? Does the council use different technology when you're using?
They do the same thing. You need Zoom to get to the music. They do the same thing.
It's the same thing on mute somebody, when the council muted.
Yeah.
You unmute, you raise your hand or wherever, and he unmutes you.
Right.
I mean, puts a little timer on you instead of doing one, so we wouldn't need any, we just unmute the board and we could leave you unmuted.
Yeah. It's long as you can wait for the background. Yeah.
No, I see what you mean.
So can we leave it that Denise will find out what our options are beyond what we know we have? Does everybody want to think about it?
To the public.
No, as
Ours,
board members, think about if there's any other way we'd like to address it. Or just decide down if we're going to allow on the technology we have now.
it's that one. I'm going to decide it.
So we can make a motion or can we just do?
Number, machines, the push here.
Well, I suggest that I still feel more comfortable if Denise and both with the administrator, just make sure we have what we need to do it and there's no issues. And then maybe next time we can have we have to have, I mean, it's not in our bylaws. I feel more comfortable if we did have a vote. On the next meeting. Board member.
Only board members.
Board member.
Are able to speak.
And consistent, it'll also give me an opportunity to triple check. I know I did provision, but to triple check the provisions took a little while. and make sure there's no concern. You could wait to make that determination next meeting. Fully informed. Have a little extra time to think about it over a couple of nights. Okay. That's my legal advice. But.
Everyone,
Yeah, we
just
adjourn.
wait.
I think that Denise can find out what the particulars are, because if we're voting for, I don't know what we're voting.
Vote remote participation, when needed by the board member, yes. And make sure we have all these technologies. And the board attorney will do a more detailed analysis of the NIU provision and make sure we're 100% okay to do it the way.
In person
Is the rule, remote is the exception.
is the exception.
You like three together, or,
You have to have some sort of incentive for in person. Yeah.
Oh, carbon credit.
Music.
Part of the form.
Yeah.
That's certification. Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, thank you.
We're third.
Was unanimous.
Yeah. Denise, we will have to get a bid. Like. What's that? So I'll just leave it on the step. Is it okay if I just?
Right.
So I don't have one of the office here. The process.
What's that? Yeah, I returned them all to you already. Yep. I gave three.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, make sure you get everything. If you want, you can the other side of the table. We're done here, right? It's a. I'm saying it.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's broken.
Thank you, yeah.
We tried. Never moved back. That's.